Hi, my name is Kenzie Lawrence, and I chose to discuss Case 8-1, Research Triangle Software Innovations, a Giving Voice to Values case. The first question is, what are the ethical issues in this case? So Steve, the advisory manager, confronts Roseanne, who is the software advisory staff member, and asks her to rank the ERP software systems and explain why she ranked each of them in that way. She tells him that Research Triangle software was ranked number 1, and that the company's own software system was ranked just below it, with a third one coming in. He then asks her some pointed questions. For example, do you know that our company is trying to promote a system? Things like that to try and maybe sway her and change her mind. She sternly asks if he is purposely trying to change her mind, and he likes her candor but tries to laugh it off and hide it. So the ethical issue is that the advisory manager doing that to the software advisory staff is inappropriate. Then Roseanne decides to go talk to one of her friends, Rebecca Chang, who is a member of the audit management team for Research Triangle. They end up sharing confidential information with each other, which is unethical. It is unethical for two professionals working in different organizations to share confidential information like they did with each other. The next question is, characterize the kind of leadership demonstrated by Steve Michaels. In my opinion, Steve Michaels uses a democratic leadership style because he delegates his responsibilities of choosing the software company to Roseanne. However, at the end of the day, the decision is ultimately up to him, and he will be held accountable for the decision. The next question is, evaluate moral intensity issues and how they might influence the actions and decisions of Roseanne. Moral intensity is the degree by which an issue is seen as either ethical or unethical. The higher the degree of moral intensity, the more ethical it is seen as. Depending on how she sees this issue will determine how she acts. If she sees the situation with a high degree of moral intensity, she will decide not to change her list and recommend that the company say that Research Triangle Software Innovations is the best option and they should go with that. If she sees the situation as a low moral intensity situation, she will probably consider changing her recommendations and telling them that the own company software system is the best option. So for the next part, it says to consider the following. If you were in Roseanne's position in developing a plan to give voice to values, how would you respond to these questions? The first question is, what is at stake for the key parties, including those who disagree with you? So there are 3 key parties involved: Oak Manufacturing, Tar and Hill, and Research Triangle. So Oak Manufacturing, what is at stake for them is if they will get an efficient enterprise resource system. Tar and Hill, what is at stake for them? The opportunity to promote their own software and potentially get feedback on how to improve it. What is at stake for Research Triangle Software Innovation? It is whether they get to provide the software service or not, and so revenue is at stake for them. The next question is, what are the likely objections or pushbacks from Vivian and others? Vivian may have a similar response as Steve had. They are a part of the same company, and so Vivian may have a similar unethical personality and approach to things. They might try and promote the own company software. If the ratings are that close, he might try to actually persuade Roseanne. The next question is, how will you counter those positions? Are there any levers you can use to influence those who disagree with you? To counter the arguments, Roseanne can give voice to her ethical values. She needs to speak up and stand up for what she believes in. She can try and make Vivian realize that there is something wrong with the way the company is doing business and the work environment they work in. The next question is, what is your most powerful and persuasive response to the reasons and rationalizations you need to address? Roseanne can approach this in 2 ways. She can approach it in a positive or a negative way. If she were to approach it positively, she would try to convince Vivian to act in an ethical way by telling her all the advantages of doing so. If she approached it in a negative way, she could try to convince Vivian by telling them the negative consequences of not following the rules and regulations, and that the law may even step in if needed.